All right. We are looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq. This is my daily review. Thank you for tuning in. Today is Monday, May 13th, and it was kind of a lackluster day on the market today, ahead of inflation data tomorrow morning and on Wednesday morning, and ahead of some key earnings reports. I just wanted to point out on the Nasdaq, though, you know, you hear with a chart, you could make kind of like any narrative you want, because the bears are saying this is definitely a double top, and it's gonna head down for sure. And the bulls will say, well, no, this is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? It's gonna go north, and that's what makes the market great. There's bulls and the bears and differing of opinions. I'll just say that, this is a weekly chart. The Nasdaq had this 32% run. They gave it back 9%. And since April 19th, it's enjoyed, a nice 4-week rally here. It's been up every week. So it's in an uptrend. How do I know? Because this 10 EMA, the green line here, has crossed through the 50, which is the longer term moving averages. So the shorter term moving averages are trending above the longer term moving average. So we're in a short term uptrend. And that's what, since this April 19th low of 15,222, we've been in an uptrend. And the 50 was crossed by the 10, but the 21 is still just a tad below here. If I go to the today's date, the 21 is 16,081 and the 50 is 1692. So it's like 9 points below, and it's going to trade through there tomorrow. And if it stays above there for 5 days, we could start ourselves a nice power trend, a new power trend. I mean, you might think, well, gosh, you just said you're in an uptrend. We are, but we're not in a power trend yet. And that would be another confirmation sign for me to get even more heavily invested in the market. If we can start a power trend, which is the 10 and the 21 above the 50, the 21 has to be above the 50 for 5 days, and we have to have an up day. And the index is, the moving average is stacked on the index, 10, 21, 50. And the low of the day has to be above the 21 for 10 days. So let's count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So tomorrow will be 8. Tomorrow, like I said, the inflation data is coming in tomorrow. We just want to avoid a big sell-off here in any of these indexes. If it just trades sideways like it has been, that's fine. We just don't want this massive sell-off, and that will kind of spoil the party and ruin the rally here. I've got to go to the S&P. It's very similar to the Nasdaq, where the 10 is crossed above the 50, and the 21 is right there at the 21 there's 5,139, and the 50 is 143. So that should cross above tomorrow, unless something unforeseen happens, a disaster du jour, which could happen anytime inflation data comes out. The market freaks out. I don't know why. The Fed hasn't done anything in nearly a year. And here's the Dow, which had an 8-day winning streak snap today. But you can see its 21 is a 726 and the 5755. So it's right there ready to cross over. And those three indexes, if we can get the 21 above the 50 for 5 days and not have a massive sell-off, we can maybe have a nice sustained rally as we head into the summer here. I'm going to go through some stocks because I like stocks, and I like the tailwinds from the index, but I trade stocks. I don't trade indexes. I don't typically buy an index fund. Anyway, this is Apple up, since earnings, and it's trading well. It had this big move. Now it's formed a little shelf. Today it was up on the news of ChatGPT being installed on the iPhone. So I don't know. Apple's getting serious about. Bottom line is Apple's getting serious about AI, and they're going to make Siri a little more powerful tool, I guess. Anyway, investors liked the news, and it was up 1.76% today. Google, man, these companies are really spending a lot of money on AI too. Google is just flat today. Pull back to the 21, found support and bounced. Microsoft can't get above the 50. I mean, eventually I believe it will, but it could, because it's trending higher, but just having a hard time with that 413.71, and it closed right there, 413.72. So maybe tomorrow we get some friendly data to help us out. Meta was down today, but it's had a nice rally since that earnings sell-off. And, some of these moving averages might provide some resistance as it tries to rally back up to the 500 level. Amazon, above all moving averages, just kind of like, I kind of like this base here. I know it's short. This is only like 5 weeks, but this is a nice little pattern here. Pulls back to its 21 or something. It can trade up to 200, which I think it's going to get there eventually. Anyway, Tesla still looks bad. Had this nice 37% move, and now it just continues its downtrend. Just looks bad. NVIDIA, they're going to report on May 22. Since today is the 13th, I can do the math and say that's going to be in 9 days. I expect it to trade sideways. There's not going to be, I doubt if there's going to be some really big, heavy bets ahead of their earnings. This is going to be an earnings report that will move the market for sure. And everybody's looking forward to seeing what NVIDIA has to say. And you can see it's just consolidating in that base there and trading sideways. It's above its moving averages. It looks pretty good to me. Qualcomm, I'm going to go to the semis since I ended with NVIDIA. Qualcomm's in this double bottom base, and it broke out following earnings and just forming a shelf. And now, kind of pushing away from this base here gradually. I was hoping it would come back to that 175, but it's got other plans. Applied Materials. I was going to put this on my ready list this week, but they report earnings, and I took a chance with Oscar last week. I'm not going to do it with Applied Materials this week, although I do like the setup here. Consolidating in a base, the moving averages are all pretty tight, which indicates, tight trading. I believe they're going to have a pretty strong report. I mean, they should. It's a cyclical business, and the cycle has moved to the upside, so it's turned up. So I expect a good report from Applied Materials. Taiwan, semi, another double bottom base, moved higher Friday on news and just gave some back today. Not a big deal to give some back after this big move. Was at 4.5%. Yeah, I give back nearly, half of that. Okay. Oh, AMCR, that's right. AMKR, okay. AMKR Technologies, semiconductor manufacturing. I just like the consolidation pattern here. Just consolidating after this big move on April 30th. Just kind of trading sideways, not the heavy selling, pulling back, just kind of, forming a little shelf pattern. So that one looks pretty decent to me. I'm going to move on. I mentioned cyclical businesses, and the data storage group is definitely a cyclical business, and they are performing well. And you can see the earnings line diving and now rebounding. So I expect their stocks to rebound as well. This one had a big move, and now it's just, some profit taking coming in, and it's still trading above its 50 and recaptured all of its moving averages here. So MU looks fine. NTAP, I believe this one I have on my ready list this week. If not, I should. I like this chart pattern. May 1 ramped 18%, formed a double bottom base. Now it's trading tight, just trading sideways, allowing these moving averages to catch up. I would imagine one day we'd see a pullback to a moving average before a bounce. They report May 30th. Pure Storage, I know this one's on our list. Same thing, big move higher on February 29th, formed a double bottom base, and now just trading tight, trading sideways. They report May 29th, but above moving averages, making higher lows, trading tight. That one looks pretty good to me. I've got to go to some bad news stuff. The software names have been getting pushed around. Duolingo, since its earnings report, I mean, it was what, 245, maybe even a little higher, 251. And today closed at 180. And that's, that was 251 on May 3. So 10 days later, my gosh, that is quite a haircut. And this is why I sell them when they slice their 50, has momentum to the downside and just keeps sliding lower. And Duolingo looks bad. Datadog, if I could type the ticker symbol in there properly. Sold off with earnings down to the 200, still within a base, but below the 50. And you can see the 50s curling lower. This looks weak. Software, I just, I don't know. It's just kind of expensive for this market. And, money's just flowing elsewhere. It's definitely not going to the, most of the software names. Monday, they report on Wednesday. I wish they would report on Monday, like last quarter. But anyway, it's not going to matter. You can see this one slice its 50 and just, traded down to the 200, and it's just, lounging around down here at the 200. So it needs a little boost. Maybe Wednesday they'll have a strong report and start trending higher. But that looks bad as well. Software names are just really tough, unless your app. If you got app in your name, APP, you're doing pretty good. They reported last week, had a nice response to the report, up 14%, and now just kind of forming a shelf. Had an inside day on Friday, and just flat today. APPF, Appfolio, is forming this double bottom base pattern. Pattern Rec's not picking it up yet. And I guess it's kind of got this double bottom pattern. It's got these highs here, 253 and 256, which is kind of, erratic type of trading, but it is trading kind of tight here. And today was up a little bit. It looks fine. If you go to the weekly chart, you can see it's just kind of trending higher. That's APPF. And the last one I want to show is NTNX. Another one of these double bottom base patterns. Pull back today a little bit in light volume, minuscule volume, but still well above the 10 EMA there. So that one looks good as well. You want to see little shakeouts before it moves higher. Shake out the weak hands. Yeah, it's still, 1% above that 10 EMA. So NTNX looks good. That's enough for software. I got to go to the financials. I'm going to go through these quickly. Citigroup, you can see this is in a base, but it made a new high today before pulling back. These ones look good. The bank stocks, BOKF, BOK Financial, another one of these regionals, banks at low volume, but made a new high today. And they're just trending higher, these banks. And this is Citizens Financial. Again, made a high and then pulled back today. Still in a base, looks pretty good. And AX is Axos Financial. This one made a new high today, just breaking out of that base. You can see that clearly defined base here, this cup-shaped pattern just moving higher. No handle needed. And that one looks good. Anyway, that's it for the financials. I got to go to retail. Bros broke out following earnings. Today just had an inside day and give a little back, but it was up a lot last week. It was like 30-something%, 32%. So nothing wrong with Bros giving back 2% today. That's to be expected. Brinker International, ticker symbol EAT, EAT. And this one's just on a heater right now. Wants higher prices. You got to look at the weekly chart on something like that. This is your base here, and it's really extended from the base, but just wants higher prices. So just acknowledging, just going through these quickly. I'm not buying anything like this. TOST, this is one that had a breakout last week, 13%. I showed on the weekend video, and I'm going to do it again this weekend. Some of these stocks that break out like this is the start of an uptrend. And so you have to watch these because a breakout like that could be the start of, emerging out of a stage one base. And this thing could, trade back up to those old, $60 or even higher prices. So I'm definitely watching a lot of these stocks. Bros was one of them. TOST is another. I went over them over the weekend. There was 20 something stocks, and there's probably like 40 all of earnings season or more that I'm tracking, because they could be big winners. It could be the start of something big. Crocs was upgraded today. This is retail shoes, and then it fell flat on the session, so the upgrade didn't help Crocs. XKX, this one I had on my ready list last week. It kind of just lollygagged around, but waiting for the moving averages to catch up. But I like this. Breakout. This is another one, that could be, leading shoe stock, because they do switch around, leadership changes from time to time. And SKX looks like it might start taking a leadership role here. You can see the earnings line heading due north. And ONON, they report earnings tomorrow. So we'll hear from them. They had an inside day today. Pulled back to the 200 last week. And, listening to Skechers and Crocs calls, I got to believe On Holdings has a strong quarter. If not, then there's something wrong with this company, because they seem to be selling a lot of shoes. I see them everywhere. I would imagine they'd be pretty strong tomorrow. The drug stocks, Novo Nordisk, was a report out in the journal that the supply chain issues are getting rectified, and their supply chain is improving. They're selling everything they can make in the weight loss category, and this is just a base. You can see it's trading tight, undercut the 50, now forming the right side of the base. This is kind of a slower mover and a steady eddy. And I don't know. I wouldn't. This is the stock that I don't worry about. They're really well managed. But they got a good report today, and in the journal, and the stock moved up a little bit. This is NVAX. They had a deal with Sanofi last week, and it just followed through today. Yeah, 47%, nice follow through. The initial move was 100 or 99%, and now it follows up with another 48% move. So that's nice work if you can get it. TEVA, this one broke out last week on earnings call, and it's been higher every day. It was up 12.8% and just continues clicking up, 1.5%, 2% every day. Today it was up nearly 4%. So TEVA looks good. And then Insight was up on a share buyback program, I think about 2 billion, something like that, which is a lot for a $12 billion market cap stock. And so this one ramped higher today, 8.5%. So that's it for the drugs. I'm going to move on because I've got to show you these energy stocks, which have been ripping so hard. They finally pulled back a little bit today. They have room on the downside to come back. They really had nice runs. This is a Sterling. So VST, Sterling, CEG, all just pulling back just a little bit. Power, Quanta Services, pull back. Yeah, still, they're above their moving averages. You got to expect some profit taking. Eaton, same thing. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. The miners, I have to go over the miners, are showing strength. This looks like a nice little base here for SCCO. Might show up on our ready list here pretty soon, but it made a new high today. So that's always a good thing. Freeport looks good as well. Nice little bases here. They're not long, but there's that sell off, the pullback, the right side of the base. And if we can get a little cup here, handle, on that cup, that looks pretty good to me as well. And then Alcoa, new high today. That's a breakout. Finally, this whole sideways action bit is just one big long handle. Looks like a shelf. And then today finally broke out 8% above 40. So congrats to the longs there at Alcoa. Anyway, that's it for me, except for I lied. I have one more thing in honor of the great Steve Jobs. A couple of earnings reports tonight. Stone Company, this is one that Warren Buffett owns a little bit of, down 7%. I'll have more on this tomorrow morning as they reported earnings tonight. It's a Brazilian company. And so sometimes, the the currencies, different currency and the time frames of what, it makes a little convoluted, a little complicated. PBR, they were supposed to report tonight. I don't know if they did or not. It's up slightly after hours, but once again, there's another Brazil company that reports in different currency, and sometimes it takes a little while to work these things out. This is a PaySafe, and it's up 7.5% following earnings tonight. So I'll have more on that as well. And the last thing I just wanted to show, Roaring Kitty is back. It's a slow day when I'm talking about Roaring Kitty. Anyway, he tweeted on or he posted on X, and the stock was up 75%. Boy, that must feed that guy's ego. I just got to say though, if you look at last week and how the thing moved, the stock really moved last week. If I go to the weekly chart, like somebody knew about this, because you can see the volume here last week, big volume bar, because it had been getting nothing, no interest at all for weeks and weeks and weeks. And all of a sudden last week, it got quite a bit of volume and moved quite a bit. If I can get on the track price, yeah, thank you very much. And it was up 6% with volume. So somebody knew something today. He posted over the weekend, and today was up 74%. If you haven't seen the movie Dumb Money, you should see Dumb Money, and then you'll know who Roaring Kitty is and what this is all about. You know, diamond hands and short squeezes, and it was $120 stock back in January 2021, and maybe they want to take it back up there. And today was a good start with 74% move. So congrats to the GME longs, bless their hearts. But this is kind of silly stuff. There's no rhyme or reason. Just because Roaring Kitty posts, the stock goes up 74%. Anyway, if you want to take a swing at it, you can always just take a swing. And if you're down a little bit, you have your stop loss, because this is probably going to last more than a day, I would think. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But this is the stuff I stay away from. But, if you want to take a swing, it doesn't hurt if you have a stop loss to get out without, small loss. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll be back tomorrow morning with, new reports and some stocks on our ready list and at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Thank you for watching.